and welcome to another recording by Melo and Chaz. Today we're going to talk about the fantastic beast, Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, the Crimes of Grindelwald is 25% the wizarding world of Harry Potter and magic, and 75% a emotive narrative web of sentimental experiences. The movie condensed and froze decades of emotional life experiences in short and poignant statements and dialogue, creatively weaving this into the narrative of the movie. Um, the Crimes of Grindelwald is more evocative of the human heart and emotions than magic itself. The movie covers the emotional damages and consequences of relationships, love, marriage, divorce, heartbreak, loss, hate, and rejection. These emotive elements held the audience of the movie's heart at a grip. Well, let's go by character, starting with Grindelwald, who's played by Johnny Depp. Just showing you what he looks like here, Grindelwald. Okay, Grindelwald is obviously he has a damaged soul and he's seeking revenge. Um, and I'm gonna have to put a spoiler alert in this movie. I won't go fully into deep spoilers, but this is a movie that this is a video you want to watch after you've seen the movie. Okay, so don't watch this before you've seen the movie. So if you're here and you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie, then come back and look at this. This is your spoiler. Stop here if you haven't seen the movie. Go watch it and come back. So in this Crimes of Grindelwald, it sets where he's locked up in prison. He's obviously seeking revenge. He's upset. They cut off his tongue. He's locked up, and he's obviously the narrative and his tone is that he's gonna find a way. He's gonna get out. So he's seeking revenge. Um, for all of the crimes, I guess, not only what was done to him, crimes, but crimes that he's yet to do. Uh, so going from Grindelwald, we're gonna go to Credence, and just knowing that you know who these characters are, you've seen the movie, you know who these characters are. So I'm not gonna go into showing the picture as much as I would like the video, and the audio might be a choppy with jumping from tab to tab for connection I have. Credence was born an orphan. Obviously, so he's constantly seeking approval and validation from whomever can give him a sense of purpose and destiny, whether with or without good intentions. He's seeking who his mother was, his birth mother. Why was he given away? Why didn't you love me? And he's just constantly seeking the origin of who he is and why he's there and what he's supposed to do. So, and people with bad intentions, obviously, Grindelwald knows this person as great power, so he wants to use it as a tool, use it as a weapon for his own Grindelwald's own um, uh, malevolent purpose. So this is what Grindelwald does. Grindelwald takes the father positioning of Credence's life. He steps in and becomes the father figure that um, Credence never had. Now, let's go to Newt. Newt is the lead character of this movie. You know who Newt is. Okay, he's the one that has all those fantastic beasts in his suitcase. Well, Newt is haunted by his past, obviously. He's not so much haunted by the past. We'll get into a character that's haunted by her past, but Newt is pretty much doesn't like to be social with people. He seems like an outsider, so he doesn't. You know how a lot of people that uh, they've been hurt by humans, so they retrace to animals who can't talk, can't say any bad things. So this is what Newt does. He drowns himself in this animal world that is contained in his suitcase. Newt says he's not happy in the movie. Okay, even though with all his animals, he still isn't happy. Even with all his animals, even with his passion, even with his career, he still isn't happy. Yet he uses his animals as a buffer to help him deal with being alone. He sinks himself into his passion, yet he isn't happy because he wants love from a particular human, a soulmate, if you will. Okay, let's get into Lestrange. Uh, Lestrange was a girl that he had a crush on, dated, supposedly dated, uh, more or less, and it didn't work out. And she changed or moved. As you see in the other movie, he said the previous movie had mentioned at the end that he didn't know who Lestrange was and that she had changed, and uh, he would think that he has changed as well and that people change. So it seemed a little bit of a heartbreak, and that's echoed in this movie. The Fantastic Beasts is their heartbreak, emotion, breakup, marriage, divorce, loss of life, loss of loved one, all that emotive passion contained in a certain scenes and statements, and what the audience can resonate with very, very deeply. So Lestrange cannot deal with her past. We find out what her past is in this movie. Uh, Crimes of Grindelwald, she is haunted by it and isn't happy. This is why Newt loved or used to love Lestrange, because they both were lonely and didn't fit in Hogwarts society. Okay, let's get into Goldstein. Goldstein is the girl that there seemed to be some romantic connection between Newt and Goldstein. But Goldstein fell in love with Newt, but she can kind of tell that he still wasn't over Lestrange. He blocked himself out. He stuck on his purpose and his passion, his book. Okay, and he had mixed signals given to Goldstein. He wasn't sure. He was kind of, when you're hurt by the past, you don't want to get into a new relationship so quickly because you don't want to be hurt again. Um, so he was kind of reserved about that, and then Goldstein could kind of feel that he was still hurt by his past relationship with Lestrange. But there is a romantic connection between Goldstein and Newt. Okay, Rosier and Kowalski, the Kowalski provides the comedy in the movie. Okay, um, and Rosier and Kowalski, they fell in love. They fell in love in the past movie, and in this movie, it starts with them still in love, and they're on about to be considering getting engaged. Well, considering getting engaged. Rosier had enchanted Kowalski, and that's why they were about to get engaged. But see, the problem is with Rosier and Kowalski. Kowalski is not a he's not in the Ministry of Magic, so there's like a law where you can't marry somebody that's not within your 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 ethnicity, within your background. With certain laws, like, oh, if you grow up in this culture, you're only supposed to date people and marry people within this culture, within this genealogy. You have to keep our genealogy within the family, that type of thing. So, oh, the Ministry of Magic is that it's legal to marry somebody that's not a magician in the Ministry of Magic or have that genetic bloodline. So, Kowalski cared about Rosie and didn't want her to, go forth and push for a marriage, because then Rosier would end up being put in prison. So, this is that intense love, and this is the issue it causes, that one person wants to get married, another person doesn't, and it causes great pain. As obviously the movie is set with Rosier and Kowalski, they're in love, but they have relationship issues. And and understand a lot of people when you've been in a relationship probably where you have relationship issues. Like on Facebook, a person may be in a relationship, but it's complicated. And Rosier and Kowalski's relationship is complicated. Um, so this is what I'm talking about. This entire movie is 25% magic and 75% uh, emotional elements condensed life experiences, emotional life experiences, condensed into short, poignant statements and narrative scenes that display what a human may go through when it comes to love and heartbreak and loss and relationships, marriage, betrayal. These are all emotional experiences that are very impactful and very they can be something to fear or be in fear of. So continuing on the characters. So, well, that's actually the end of the characters I'm going to cover, the main characters. So, but interesting to note is that Newt says in one of his quotes, it says that I don't take sides. In this movie, sides were taken at the end. And this is a spoiler. Again, if you have not seen the movie, don't watch this. Go on, watch it and come back. Sides were taken. Rosier takes the dark side. Rosier steps in to the dark side with Grindelwald because of that great emotional heartbreak and pain. She chooses sides. She wanted Kowalski to follow her wherever she went, and she chose to go and pledge allegiance with Grindelwald, and Kowalski didn't choose that side. So they chose to be apart. So therefore, there was a breakup and loss, and that pain caused Rosier to step into the dark side with Grindelwald. Now, Lestrange, because of her love and also her pain of her past, not being able to live and being haunted by her past of what she did to her brother, Lestrange sacrifices her life in order to save those people she did love. So here we have Newt and Lestrange's fiance. Who they both lose Lestrange. They both lose her completely. Newt, I'm sure he still has some love for Lestrange, and Lestrange's fiance obviously loves her. They both have to say goodbye to Lestrange because she sacrifices her love in order to save those people from being destroyed by Grindelwald. So two people, there's two circles or counts of heartbreak and loss, of breakup and being left alone, loneliness, a life of abandonment continues for these people, Newt and Lestrange's fiance. Okay, Kalowski loses the lover of his life, Rosier, because she chooses to sides with Grindelwald, and Newt is now released. But Newt is now released to fully love Goldstein without Lestrange. So nothing is holding Newt back now from loving and getting into relationship with Goldstein now that Lestrange is out of the picture. All right. And the end of the movie ends with Grindelwald starts grooming Credence to utilize his great power. So on one side, Grindelwald has an edge where he has Credence in his allegiance and uses him. But on the other side, Newt got Grindelwald's blood pack, where Grindelwald and what's the other person's name? Jude Law plays. The person that Jude Law plays, he kept on saying in the movie that he cannot fight Grindelwald, and the reason why they say it at the end is because they have a blood pact where they can't fight each other. So that's the reason why Jude Law, the person that plays Jude Law, would not go and fight Grindelwald, even though Jude Law, the person who plays Jude Law, could probably be the only match to defeat Grindelwald. But they have a blood pact, so they can't fight each other. But Newt, somehow, through one of his beasts, gets that blood pack necklace piece. And if they find a way to destroy it, Jude Law, the character played Jude Law, will be able to go and fight Grindelwald. So on one side, Grindelwald has the edge with Credence, and the other side, Jude Law and Newt have an edge with they have the blood pack a necklace, which if they destroy it, they can now go fight Grindelwald and defeat him. And if they defeat Grindelwald, take him down, then Credence will probably they'll probably be able to talk sense into Credence. Okay, so other than that, this movie is 75% motive narrative, a web of sentimental experiences, heartbreak, love, and emotion, relationship, loss, and abandonment. Just a heart throbbing, very emotional, stirring movie that a lot of people can relate with when it comes to our life experiences day to day. I think everybody can relate with this movie. So it's not so much about magic. Yes, there's magic in it, but it can really teach you a lot of things. But a lot of the statements, a lot of the scenes and characters and their life experiences can relate with you. So I would give this movie just one big thumb up and a kind of a halfway thumb up. They did a good job. They did a good job with the creative story, J.K. Rowling, and weaving life experiences into it, into the magical world of Harry Potter. So that's all I got to say for today, and I hope you enjoyed the movie. And leave a comment below of what you thought, and I'll see you later.